Well, hello, Phantom Shipmates. The sun is just starting to come up. I got underway about an hour ago, and this is it. I just went underneath the bridge of the Divert, for those of you who are familiar, and I'm on my way to Iceland. The first stop is a port about 130 nautical miles off the coast called Lorient. So that'll take me about 24 hours to get there. So all day, and hopefully tomorrow about this time I'll be arriving there. And then a couple more stops off the coast, and then, well, I'll show you on a map how I'll do that. So we're on our way to Iceland. Wish me luck. Well, I've been underway for several hours now. I remember when I started last year at this time, it was cold and gray and rainy, and I was having problems with my autopilot. So I'm off to a good start this year. It's the weather's fairly nice. I'm sure that's not visible on the camera there, but that's Les Sables d'Olonne. So I'm coming up in that. One of the things that I need to decide is how to manage my new sail. So this is the Genoa that you see out here now, that I've always had, true and faithful. A very good sail made of hydronet, we say in French. I'm sure it's pronounced hydronet or in English. And it's tough as bullets, huh? So this is my new sail, the stay sail, the Solent. So when do you use it? And so conceptually I have that idea in my head that the Genoa now will become an all or nothing sail. And as soon as I need to start reefing it, which I usually start to do, I start to furl it in, probably about 17 knots of wind, just to keep the boat comfortable. So instead of just partially furling it, I'm going to furl it all the way in, and then I'll switch to using the Solent, the stay sail. And I'm sure that's conceptually the model I'd like to have. All or nothing on the Genoa, and using the stay sail whenever I need to partially furl the Genoa. I'm sure that's too rigid of a rule, and there will be times when the slightly furled Genoa is a better sail than the stay sail. So if any of you have suggestions about how you use yours, now the one thing that's for sure is you can see my Genoa will never go past between the two stays. So what I need to do is anytime I want to tack or jibe, when I'm using the Genoa, I need to furl it, and furl it completely. It won't slide through the slot here. So what I do is when I'm leaving marinas or I'm in a busy area, I will use the stay sail. When I leave port, that's the sail that I put out until I'm stabilized on a course someplace, away from traffic, away from where I'm going to have to be doing a lot of tacking and jibing. And then I'll furl the stay sail and just use the Genoa if the conditions are right for that. Okay. Okay, I've been getting some very erratic speed readings from this device that turns with the water flow. I use the GPS anyway for speed over ground. That's the most important thing anyway for me. But I want to clean it up anyway. I'll show you how to do that. I keep a spare plug here, just attached to it. So when I pull this instrument out, I'll just stick this in and plug it. This is the other stuff that I use. I've never had to use it, but if I ever had a leak that I needed to plug in a hurry, this goop will plug anything, and that's what it'll do. So then you just turn this out. This is a good way to sink your boat if you need to sink it in a hurry. Okay, that's in place. Yeah, you can see this is all, it's got a bunch of gunk on it. So I'll clean that up and put it back in. Well, I cleaned it all up. You can see, boy, it spins on the top now. So let's just stick it back in the hole. It's always a scary moment. There we go. Oh, I forgot to say, so this is the indicator that gives the speed through water, and this is the sender that gives the depth. And it sends it back to the instruments in the after. I forgot to say that for those of you who don't yet own your own boats. And then I'll just keep this here, just so that it's available should need be. Well, good morning. The sun has just come up. Well, I've already been sailing for 2 hours. I left Lorient for a place called Saint-Yvette, which is a 12-hour sail. Saint-Yvette is not a marina. I'll either anchor or take a mooring buoy if I can find one. The reason that you stop there is to be well positioned to go through one of those tidal gates that are along the French coast called the Rade de Seine. So I'll anchor there tonight and then shoot through the Rade de Seine tomorrow and either go to Camaret-sur-Mer or Brest. And from there, straight to Ireland the next day. Let me check the weather one more time, but that's what the initial plan is. So things are going well on a nice, beautiful day. A nice beam reach here. I've got the Genoa fully deployed, full sail. What are we doing here? 6.5 knots on a beam reach with 11 knots of apparent. So that's fine. As I sail up the northwest coast of France toward Brest, I'm passing a beam set of basically uninhabited islands and rocks and shoals called Les Îles de Glénan, the Glénan Islands. And it's a very popular destination in the summer. It's got sandy beaches and nooks and crannies everywhere where you can, for the day sailors, anchor and then go ashore and have a barbecue or a picnic. But the reason I wanted to talk about Les Glénans is actually not the sailing destination tour guide stuff, but actually the islands of Les Glénans lend their name to the most famous sailing school in France, which is called Les Glénans. And that school publishes a sailing book 1,000 pages long of weather and navigation and how to trim sails and basic seamanship and all of that. And I read this 3 or 4 years ago when I took up sailing again seriously. I'd probably, now that I've got some miles under the keel, I'd probably benefit a great deal from rereading it now appreciating all the nuances and the fine reading. So, I don't know if this exists in English, but I'm sure every country has a sailing textbook like this that's comprehensive and gives everything that you need to know. The next best thing to being on the boat. 25 knots of wind on arrival at Saint-Yvette. If it's like this in the mooring field, if it's not protected, I'll just do a U-turn and continue on to Brest. Well, just a quick recap on what happened there. I went into Saint-Yvette, but the wind was blowing 25 knots really, and the mooring balls didn't look like they were positioned in the right place. They were way too far in, and the water is very shallow there. So I could have dropped the anchor, and there was another sailboat there that had anchored. But from the direction of the wind, if the anchor dragged at all, I would be onto the seawall in a flash. So what that means is that I would essentially be on anchor watch all night long. I wouldn't get us. I know myself. I wouldn't have slept at all. So I said, enough of this, and I decided to head for Brest. And I am now entering the Rade de Seine. I got here with 45 minutes to an hour before the tide turns. So it's a good thing I didn't delay the decision at all, and it made some good time here, because I'll sail right through the Rade de Seine. It means I can't go all the way to Brest though, because I'll be fighting the tide all the way, trying to go that extra 10 miles to go to Brest. So I'll go to Camaret-sur-Mer instead. I know you saw nothing at all. Neither did I, but it worked out. There are 9 million bicycles in Beijing. That's a fact. It's a thing we can't deny. The forecast winds for my trip from France to Southern Ireland in the next few days are to be from the southwest and moderate 10 to 20 knots. That's a guess. No one can really say for sure. But I know that, come what may, within the next couple of days I'm going to be drinking Guinness in Ireland.